Today, we're telling a story that isn't just about cars. Nope, this is about a man who failed, and I mean spectacularly failed, before he went on to change, well, just about everything. It's a story about belief, about crashing and burning, and about a vision that literally put the world on wheels.
So, can a 40-year-old bankrupt actually build an empire? I mean, really think about that for a second. This question is at the absolute heart of Henry Ford's life. Because before he was this global icon we all know, he was a bankrupt, a dreamer that the world had pretty much written off. His story is proof that you can go from being a total public failure to a world-changing force. It shows it is never too late to rewrite your own story.
Okay, so let's rewind. Our story starts on a farm in Michigan. You can picture it, a world of dirt, sweat, and hard labor. Henry Ford was born right into this life, but he never really belonged. While everybody else was looking at crops and fields, Henry was seeing gears and pistons. His mind was already living in the machine age.
Yeah, Ford was always kind of the odd one out. He just saw this whole world of machines that was just waiting to be built. It all clicked for him when he was 12. A steam engine comes thundering by, and bam, that was it. That was his calling. Just 3 years later, by 15, he's already tinkering, building his own little engines out of scrap metal. So at 16, he makes the big call, he leaves the farm for good, and heads straight for the factories of Detroit.
You know, his mother, Mary, was his #1 fan, his greatest champion. So when she passed away, it devastated him. He lost his anchor. But her words, her belief in him, that light inside, well, that became his North Star through all the failures that were just around the corner.
So now we're in Detroit, and this is where Ford's big dream of a horseless carriage slams head-on into the brutal reality of the business world. See, he had the vision, no doubt, but he was about to learn the hard way that a brilliant idea is just a fantasy if you can't actually execute it.
He actually got his shot. Some investors backed him. He had a factory, a team, a dream, the whole shebang. But that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. The cars he was building were expensive, they were unreliable, and they took forever to make. Why? Because Ford just couldn't stop tinkering. He was a perfectionist without a finished product.
And just like that, 18 months later, it was over. The investors walked. They were done. Ford was left with nothing but public shame. He was that guy, you know, the big dreamer who couldn't deliver. And for most people, that would have been it. Game over.
And it gets worse. At 40 years old, Ford fails again. His second company collapses. Now he's in debt and a laughingstock in the industry. I mean, at an age when most men are hitting their stride, Henry Ford was right back at square one, with nothing but a shattered dream to his name.
But this is the pivot. This is where everything changes. In 1903, he manages to scrape together $28,000 from a few friends who still believed in him, and he starts the Ford Motor Company. And this time, it wasn't just about building a car. It was about building an entirely new kind of world.
Ford's vision was absolutely radical for the time. See, he wasn't building another expensive toy for the rich. He was building a tool for the masses, a vehicle for freedom. The Model T wasn't just a car to him, it was a complete obsession.
And here's the thing, Ford's real genius wasn't just the car itself, it was how he built it. He saw the disassembly lines in Chicago slaughterhouses and had this brilliant idea: what if we just reversed it? Instead of workers moving all over the factory to the car would move to them. That simple shift, it was a revolution. Production time just collapsed from over 12 hours down to just 90 minutes. And the result of all that efficiency was just staggering. The price of a Model T, which started out at $850, eventually dropped all the way down to $260. A car went from being a symbol of incredible wealth to a practical tool that farmers, teachers, and factory workers could actually afford. Then, in 1914, Ford did something that shocked the entire world. He announced the $5 day, effectively doubling his workers' wages overnight. His rivals called him insane, but Ford understood a fundamental truth. A well-paid workforce becomes a consumer base. He wasn't just creating workers, he was creating his own customers.
So Ford built this massive empire, but success always comes at a cost. And the same stubborn vision that drove him to the top now started to become his greatest liability. The great innovator was becoming resistant to change. And this clash of ideals played out in the most tragic way possible between Henry and his only son, Edsel. Edsel was the future. He saw the need for style, for comfort, for variety. But Henry, the old lion, refused to change.
He gave his son the title of president, but he kept all the real power, creating this quiet, painful war right inside his own family. And nothing captures his rigidity better than this famous quote. The reason was purely practical. Black paint dried the fastest, which meant maximum production. But while Ford was stuck on black, competitors like Chevrolet were offering cars in a whole rainbow of colors. The market was evolving, and Ford was getting left behind.
Finally, in 1927, after selling over 15 million cars, Henry had to concede. In a stunningly dramatic move, he walked into his massive factory in order to complete shutdown. Just like that, the legendary car that had built his entire empire was officially dead. It was time for something new.
Now, Ford would bounce back with the Model A, but his final years were really defined by personal loss and the heavy burdens of his own creation. The empire he built would end up taking a heavy, heavy toll.
All those years of conflict with his father just crushed Edsel, who died at only 49. And that loss, it broke Henry. He was old, he was fading, and the world he had built was moving on without him. 2 years later, he handed the company to his grandson and retired. He passed away peacefully, in a house without power, lit only by candles, the very same way he had entered the world.
So what can we learn from a life like that? Well, Ford's legacy teaches us that world-changing ideas can start small, in a shed. That true innovation serves the many, not the few. That systems can be even more powerful than products. That failure isn't just an option, it's pretty much a requirement for success. And maybe the toughest lesson of all, knowing when it's time to let go of the very thing that made you great. Henry Ford started as a 40-year-old bankrupt and ended as the man who put the world on wheels. He proves that it's never too late to start, and that one person's vision can completely reshape our reality. So, the only question left is, what will you build?